Pleased to be joined by the Chief of Police for the city of Arvin, Alex Ghazalpour. I think the first place to start is just I think, a good reassurance that you've been on the scene with this. Arvin police have been investigating this tragic event that took place over the weekend on Saturday with a couple people losing their life in a shooting on Batista Street. Can you tell us what your response was from the scene? I know you were on the scene there Saturday morning when this shooting took place.
So when the actual shooting did take place, I wasn't on scene personally, but my police officers were, my department was, and we received this call approximately 4:30 in the morning with a multitude of 911 calls coming in regards to shots fired in the area of Batista and the addresses that we responded to. My police department personnel responded to the scene immediately upon the time of call and getting up there. And as soon as my first officers went on scene, they saw that we did have subjects that were down. And unfortunately, those subjects that were down, we had to put together, a quick react team to make sure that we can get to them safely and make sure there is no active threat that is still occurring there, such as an active shooting incident or someone that may continue to be shooting. So as we're doing that, everything is evolving based upon the nature of what our officers initially saw on scene. The supervisor that was responding to that scene made the determination to dispatch to immediately get us what's known as mutual aid. The Kern County Sheriff's Department provides mutual aid to us. Subsequently, having the Lamont substation respond out to us and various deputies from Kern County to respond to us because of the scene that's so potentially volatile in nature. There's a huge amount of things that occur on scene. Will one is obviously making sure that we're able to save lives and get out there and to be able to get the fire department in safely to also render aid as well too to potentially save lives. Number two, a big part of major crime scenes such as this that come into play is crime scene preservation as well too. So we have to prioritize that. And there's so much that is going on out there with the officers responding. We want to make sure we're prioritizing it appropriately. We deal with life right off the get-go. Unfortunately, two people, yes, did succumb to their injuries as a result of gunshot wounds. Um, our investigation there quickly locked up the scene, right? Quickly put things that we needed to do when it comes to evidence preservation, and then we start the processing of what's occurring. During that time, as you could see, the situation being volatile, we also were told that a 17-year-old who was in one of the residences had suffered a gunshot wound from the incident as well too, a non-life-threatening gunshot wound. So now we're making sure the 17-year-old gets that aid rendered to them safely, and the fire department and Hall's paramedics can get that person to a hospital if need be, which indeed they transported to a hospital where he sustained non-life-threatening wounds. Um, I received a call. I'm on scene within an hour and approximately 20 to 30 minutes. So I'm on scene. So me coming on scene is not to come there and micromanage my team. Me coming on scene is to make sure that my team has with the resources that they need, and to be able to provide anything that's outside of what their immediate scope of this investigation is, to help provide that support that's there. And that's what my role was. And if there's any media that ultimately comes out, I end up talking to the media and giving them the high level information on what's occurred. I also have to let my residents know that as this scene is an active scene that is going on, there is no immediate threat to the public in regards to a shooter that we have that's out and about that is just going around targeting events, targeting parties, targeting homes. So we quickly are able to put that together from what we've seen out there and what we developed, and then start to have the investigative process work through. I have four detectives in my detective bureau now. All four detectives rolled out. I have my senior detective that took lead, worked with the scene supervisor that we had. We did have the Kern County Coroner's Office obviously come out, which is a part of a homicide investigation, and then the Kern County Crime Lab, their technical investigations team, who processes that scene for us. Being an agency our size, we don't have a property and evidence crime scene technician, so we utilize the sheriff's department for those. I'm sorry, we utilize the county for those resources as well too. Absolute seamless on how it works out and how we put things together.
And I think something too that when we had our story yesterday and there's the focus on the grand jury report and operating budget, and of course we would love to see cities have a larger operating budget. At the same time too, there's been so few homicides that have taken place in Arvin over the years. Can you talk about, I guess, a reassurance about what this was, potentially an isolated incident, and your ability to work around this? And again, you detailed it in your response. There was quite a response to the scene uh, just minutes after this took place.
I'm going to echo the sentiments of what the mayor put out there about agency collaboration. Agency collaboration is absolute key. One of the foundations that I helped develop here, obviously being here for the time frame that I've been here, almost 15 years with this organization, there wasn't much agency collaboration before. We are in an industry now where regionalization, agency collaboration, working together absolutely is beneficial for all aspects of what's occurring. We've also had a detective bureau that's probably one of the largest amount of detectives in one bureau in this department's history. We have 4 detectives in there that are handling different areas of crime that comes in there, processing things and working through it. Our current patrol strength right now is 22, which includes the deputy chief and myself. We have 25 total with the 3 reserve officers that we have as well too. As a matter of fact, as we want to prioritize the scene out there, Will, to make sure that things are done appropriately out there. But we do also want to call in additional resources to help supplement patrol, because just because of a critical incident doesn't mean that the whole city comes to a stop and we're now no longer going to be responding to calls and putting everything on hold. So we did have one of our level 1 reserves come in and work and assist with us as well too. He was able to come in, and again, that's the work in relationships. That's the collaborative that we have here. Is this an isolated incident? Absolutely, this is an isolated incident. Are we in the early stages of the investigation, and is this going to be a lengthy investigation? It is, and it's going to be a lengthy investigation because we want to do things timely, appropriately, not under any political pressure, any public pressure. The victims and the suspects, have to be, have their rights here, when it comes to making sure that we're processing things appropriately, not rushing things. We're not going to do that. We're not going to rush things under any kind of pressure whatsoever on any investigation, whether it's a low-level theft investigation or a high-level crime against a person investigation. We're just not going to do that. And no law enforcement agency in this county does that. We don't rush things. We do it systematically, methodically, and appropriately to make sure things are done appropriately across the board.
Have there been any arrests yet, or any suspects that you have arrested or notified yet?
No. And again, it's a part of the investigation, ongoing process, and we've got a plethora of evidence on scene that we've collected that we're going to be sifting through, and we're going to continue to do that, and we're going to continue to do that for the days to come. We owe it. We owe it to the community. We owe it to the victims' families. We owe it to everybody involved in this matter for them to understand that we're going to do this appropriately, systematically, and the right way in order to bring resolution.
Well, it's such an impressive statistic when you look at the lack of homicides that have taken place in your city over the last several years. And I know that this is such a jarring incident for many because there's 2 people who have died, the third person who was injured there as well. What reassurances do you have during this time that this, again, was an isolated incident and that we wouldn't see a similar situation pop up later this year?
Well, this is an absolutely isolated incident. This isn't something where we have, random shootings that are occurring along the city. At no time, I don't have a crystal ball, and I wish if I had a crystal ball, probably could be police chief in every city all at the same time. And no police chief has a crystal ball anywhere at all. I will tell you, based upon our community partnership policing model that we have, the amazing work that the men and women of this department do on a day-to-day basis, I had some officers there 16, 17 plus hours coming off the night shift that just want to make sure that things are done so right and so appropriately, not just for my agency, but for every law enforcement agency in this county, to have the resources of, Sheriff Youngblood and his staff to be able to send me, 10 plus deputies in a critical incident, coupled with the reassurances from other agencies and other folks who have reached out to me, other chiefs have reached out to me. Hey, Alex, what do you need? Do you need anything? That just shows the network that we're dealing with in 2025 versus the ideology of sitting on your own island many, many years ago, right? This is, in the public safety aspect, we work with fire works with us. We're first responders on both aspects of it as well too. And it's a collaborative effort that we have across the board. For me to say that our patrol levels are increased in that neighborhood, they absolutely are increased in that neighborhood because there's something that's substantial that's occurred within that neighborhood that is typically a quiet neighborhood. Are you seeing more police cars that may drive down your streets? Absolutely. And I have the commitment and the buy-in from my city management staff to say if we need to expend additional overtime, then let's do it, right? In order to help offset and to bring peace of mind. If I can snap my fingers, look into that crystal ball and go and pat everybody on the back and tell them everything is going to be okay. Well, things are going to be okay, but it's going to take some time, and healing is a part of that process where it's going to take some time.
It feels like one of the biggest things that I've seen from the grand jury report to now is that I think the latest update we saw was 18 on the patrol strength from the grand jury statistics. You say now it's 25?
So 25 including reserves. So at the time when the grand jury was in, I had two officers in backgrounds, and typically the deputy chief and I, we don't include ourselves in that patrol force. But as you can see, if there was a call for me to go out to on that Saturday, well, we would have gone out to that Saturday. For me to have that amount, and again, I don't want to take this shooting and politicize this in any way pertaining to the grand jury report whatsoever. And I need folks to truly understand that the grand jury report is something completely separate. That the grand jury came in here, reviewed the city on, and took a look at in regards to the strengths and in regards to the weaknesses, and provided recommendations. The grand jury report didn't come out here and said Arvin committed these crimes and Arvin committed these violations. It was a holistic, professionally put together report that came out there and said, hey, here's our recommendations, and these are areas you could do better. Community policing was obviously highlighted in that in regards to the community policing model that we have. And I won't tell you the exact patrol times that we have in place just because of safety, for the officers. But I will tell you, we don't just have your traditional day shift and night shift. We do have an overlap team, right? We do have overlap officers that come in. We've got canines that are able to come out here as well too, with two supervisors, handling canines. We've really, really evolved, really, really evolved, and it goes back to the commitment that the council and the city management has in regards to making sure public safety is a priority for us. And public safety and first responder and fire is an absolute priority for this community, and it should be a priority for this community. Well,
I think that's such an important point you make about a grand jury. They're not like sitting there like a criminal court, hearing they're a group of people that do these tours and they release an investigation like this in a situation that it was taking place there. Just now, it's of course related to the city and police department, of course, a branch of the city government.
of course.
What other statistics would you like to clear up as well? Because I know that those statistics were only through, I believe, July 31st of
So
2024.
absolutely, and Will, thank you so much for the opportunity to help clear up those statistics. And watching your initial report, and I hope we can do an update to your initial report here. When you see the trend of DUI crimes going up, right, and DUI arrests going up. So we averaged, well, actually, we didn't average, and I want to give you some hard statistics here that I just happened to pull up. We will
Sure.
do our full statistic release. I think you and I did a story on our statistics. I want to say in
A couple
2020.
years ago, I think. Yeah.
2022 and then maybe 2023 as well too.
2023. That was my first year was
2023,
23. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So let me just give you our total incidents and some of the most key things where it shows that our officers are out there in the community doing things. Um, in 2023, we averaged about 1,500 traffic stops, right? So I'm looking at our 2023 statistics. So 1,500 traffic stops, 1,516 traffic stops is how many traffic stops that our officers did. So let's talk about the increase, right, of traffic stops. In 2024, we handled 2,538, conducted 2,538 traffic stops. And out of those traffic stops, 25% of them were issued citations with several warnings that were given out to our residents, to our visitors, to our people within our community. And coupled with that 25% citation rate that we have, those traffic stops also included what we call investigative traffic stops. So those investigative traffic stops that you would ultimately do turned into 71 DUI arrests that we had for that year. Now, I have one officer that's receiving a MAT award this year for 25 plus DUI arrests, right? And what we have done organization-wise, Will, is I have sent folks to the training, right? Your typical off training police officer can handle a DUI investigation, but with the enhanced abilities that we have with the Office of Traffic Safety that has funding pertaining to A-RIDE and SFST training for DUI detection, these officers have gone out there and honed their skills a little bit more. So we've seen an increase in DUI arrests, which means, and again, DUIs are up, nationally. We have, drug driving, not just drug driving, but we have alcohol related driving. So we have prescriptions, we have non-prescription, we have marijuana impaired driving statistics as well too. And I'm really proud to say that when we see those DUI arrest numbers go up in July of 2024, we were at 43, right? When a grand jury had this, we ended the year with 71 arrests. So that tells me two things. For an organization our size, good job in going out there and doing the traffic stops. Good job in focusing on these DUIs that we had. I personally leave in the city sometimes at 9, 10 o'clock at night, right? I actually had a DUI stop, and the person at roughly about 9 o'clock at night, right, coming from one event, right, blew a .18, right, over 2 times the legal limit. A .18, driving alcohol wise. We're actively looking for that. Is that is DUI a preventable crime? Yes, it 100% is. 100% is. You have Uber, you have ride shares, you have friends, you have the Tipsy Tow service that Kern County is involved with. Different tow companies are involved with. Absolutely. I mean, utilize those services. Don't get behind the wheel of a car, drunk or under the influence of whether it's a controlled substance or prescription medication and thus forth. So to show those statistics, that's fantastic, right? That to me shows we're out there, we're actively looking and doing things. So 71 total DUI arrests, with which is great for us. A couple other notices, a couple other major things I want to obviously share with you. Yes, our homicides in 2024. We had one for the year 2024. Unfortunately, this year here we are, embarking upon mid-year, and we have uh, two incidents that occur, right? Two deaths that occur. So we will be obviously, yeah, and your numbers are absolutely right. That is a substantial rise. But again, it is an isolated incident that we're looking at, and we will continue our proactive patrols. We will continue our officers out on the streets, and we're not sitting around a station waiting to get a call. They're actively driving and looking for things, and we will find the perpetrators. Of any crime potentially that decides they want to come into Kern County or come into our city and victimize our residents, our visitors, our businesses, and thus forth. We're going to find you. We're going to hold you accountable. 100%. Those are some of the major stats I wanted to share with you. Obviously, we have taken a significant amount of guns off the streets. We were just recently involved in a SIT operation, and that SIT operation is an AB 101 operation that deals with probation. That a lot of different agencies, almost all agencies in Kern County, are tied to. That's ran through Ridgecrest PD. That currently the chief up there is the one that is handling that. Let me give you our current SIT operations, and we did a SIT operation um, just under 2 weeks ago. And I want to give you some of the stats from that operation, just so we're fully on the same page of a daytime SIT operation. So we're looking for, people that are non-compliant with probation, right, and doing probation checks. So during our last SIT operation that we did, we made 5 felony arrests and 1 misdemeanor arrest. And again, this was a multi-agency, almost 70 plus officers and probation officers. We had 38 residences and addresses that we checked where 28 contacts were made. We had 4 narcotics violations that were identified, 3 items of narcotics seized. And out of that operation, we seized ammunition that was not supposed to be in the possession of a person on probation or a felon. And we ended up finding 2 bundles of meth and additional boxes of ammo that were not supposed to be in the possession of the persons that were arrested. So again, that tells me 2 things. Number one, it tells me that as we look at these targets that we go out to and these people that we contact, one, they're complying with their probation, which means the probation department's doing a hell of a job, a heck of a job, a job that doesn't get much thanks, and they're holding the people accountable and doing checks. And number two, these people are quickly wanting to get past their probation, right? To go right back into holding those jobs, going to school, doing the things, and taking their past that they've done and mistakes they've made and correcting them. Some of the second to prior SIT operation that we did, right? And I like these as we like statistics and we want to make all these major arrests. At the end of the day, on the turn side of this is when we don't see much, that means that people are complying with what their probation is and complying with what the rules are. And that speaks volumes for the probation department, law enforcement agencies, the DA's office, everybody who's done something to prosecute this. And for our defense attorney side as well, too. It's a win-win situation when a defense attorney or an attorney goes into court and says, my client will abide by these probation terms, and they do, and they do. It makes everybody proud on that aspect. So these are positive strides that we're having. A pendulum is swinging appropriately back in the law enforcement aspect that it needs to. And again, some of these stats speak volumes for themselves here.
Right. I think that's the big thing too, which is that you feel fully confident in your department's ability to cover these crimes, no matter how many they may pop up and no matter how many arrests there are, because I think there's something interesting that you mentioned there, which is that uh, more crime, more arrests is not a bad thing necessarily. That shows that you're pulling more people out.
Thank you, Will, and thank you for bringing that to notion as well too. And again, one of the things I really want to harp upon is, regardless of a theft that occurred, up to and the most including this heinous crime that occurred, which is a homicide, we're not going to politicize any of these events whatsoever in regards to what we're looking at, what we're not looking at. I have great police officers here in this department that know what their jobs are, that are committed to this community, committed to this organization, committed to the profession. And quite frankly, if they can't handle it, they'll come to me and say, hey, we may need to reach out to our partner agencies because I will tell you, you look at larger agencies that have full scale teams that roll out, absolutely. And there is nothing wrong with reaching out to them for assistance because that is what we are doing this day and age. All right. If the sheriff's department were to call us for assistance, we would be there at the drop of a dime for them. If we hear a California Highway Patrol officer is responding to an accident outside the city limits, right, and there's one unit responding at 6 o'clock at night, I've given the direction to my supervisory staff, monitor that, send them one of our officers. Minimum you can do is go out there and hold that traffic collision scene safe for them until they get the resources that they need. And this cross collaboration and this integration and this regionalization is a win-win situation for all agencies. And as police chief, it's one of those models that I've really want to instill. I've given the autonomy for my folks to do. And again, going back to what we've done here, we've built a detective bureau that went from one, two, to now four detectives that are in there with areas of specialty that is just absolutely amazing. As a heinous of a scene it is when we respond to shootings, but when you see a full scene roll out, not only that, I have a crime analyst who's here now, who has 30 plus years experience, right? Working for one of the largest sheriff's department in the nation, the LA County Sheriff's Department. So to have him sit in this debriefs as well and to be able to provide that insight of some of the most heinous homicides that he has seen and to be able to collaborate with our detective bureau, that's a force multiplier that I am proud to have, and I want to continue to have public safety wise within the city. And I do agree. The city is resilient. Unfortunately, the city, just like any other city, becomes stronger when there's something bad that occurs. But we don't need our city to become stronger when something bad occurs. We need our city, along with all cities nationwide, to be strong, period. And when you see something, you say something, you bring it to our attention. And like I said, and we're going back to the shooting, when there is something that you think might fit, evidentiary wise, you think might be a piece of the puzzle that may be missing, don't just negate it and put it away. Call our anonymous tip line, give us the information that you need, right? And let us decipher whether it fits a crime or it doesn't. Going back to our, as your station reported, our public works trucks, right, that were stolen from our public works yard. We were able to, within our agency, along with the assistance of Kern Cats, right? So it's a specialized theft regionalization task force that we have. We were able to recover 3 out of those 4 trucks within a matter of 72 hours using technology, right? Using enhanced investigative skills that are out there. That becomes a win-win situation, Will. So when you see, and as reporting is there, we're making more DUI arrests, that's a positive thing. Because if we're not making 71 DUI arrests and we're just, not doing traffic stops and not doing enforcement related actions, one out of that 71 could be something that could be very detrimental, and someone could lose their life behind, a wheel of a car, or be someone that is affected by a drunk driver. So we're working those effectively.
Sure. And last couple questions I wanted to ask you as well. When you see the grand jury report, I know you can't really comment on it, but there's no risk that you see, or there's no potential that you see of any lost jobs in the police department as it stands right now.
And again, that's, we're going through a budget season right now. There's been no messages and no information that's been sent to me in regards to lost jobs in the police department. As a matter of fact, I have two spots currently right now that are still vacant, that haven't been filled. So we're looking at actively recruiting for. And again, that speaks volumes in regards to the grand jury report. Does its analysis of where the city is at. Our operating budget is our operating budget. And with economic development, as the mayor alluded to, that's what's going to bring in additional revenues for the city. The ease of the permit, and I watched your news article yesterday and your review in regards to that. The ease of making, things, making businesses, or development easier, a streamlined process. Those are things that are outside the purview of the police department. You build it, we will come around and enforce it. You see what I mean? So let them build it, we'll come around and enforce it. And I'll tell you, one of the things that this county is going to see is a huge increase in volume of people coming to this county, whether they're coming down the 58 to the Bear Mountain Boulevard to go into Mettler, or whether they're coming up the 5, down to 99, east, west, north, south. We're going to see a huge influx when the Hard Rock Casino is built out here. So we're going to see a big, and we want to make this county, the safe county where people come to, and we're going to continue to do that. And I'm really proud of the report, from the sheriff to our DA to all the other chiefs of police, all of my colleagues. That is our number one goal, is to make sure the cities are safe, and the county is safe as a whole.
And last question for you. Since you mentioned the openings, I may as well ask you, even though you've been doing it for a good portion of the interview, why should people be applying to be a member of the Arvin Police Department? What sets you apart from some of these other developing cities in the county? What makes Arvin so special?
I'll tell you, it's a very close-knit community, Will. Very close-knit community. You come out here as a police officer, whether you're a seasoned officer, a lateral, you're going to have that hometown feel. That's what's attracted me to this city. I've been up here again, 14 plus years, over a decade. I can easily say that. It's a good community. It's a heartfelt community. It's a community that cares about others. It's a community that actually cares about their police department. And it is very nice to see how the officers reciprocate and care for them as well too. Any law enforcement agency these days, applications for law enforcement agencies are so far and few. We used to see 500 people apply for one position. Now we see one person apply for 500 positions that are open, right? It's such a different pendulum, different thing that's occurred. We're a full functioning police department, minus, I don't have a helicopter. I'm not going to budget a helicopter, so I can't put you in a helicopter and have you fly a helicopter. I don't have an active SWAT team. I don't have a motor detail, right? But hey, maybe one day we can have a motor traffic detail. I will tell you, you'll come out here and you can work extremely hard. You're going to see a variance of crimes that occur out here, and you're going to be able to investigate some of the most heinous things that occur here to some of the lower level things that occur here, and you're going to gain that experience, and you're going to have that experience, and it's going to be a very fulfilling thing. It's very nice that when we walk down the department, walk down the halls, the morale is at an all-time high. People are happy with what they're doing. And one of the things that both my deputy chief and my deputy chief has, several years of experience, Assistant Chief Highway Patrol Brian Smith. One of the things that we've instilled upon our troops here is do the job that you want to do the job that you're trained to do, right? And go out there and give it 110%. Leave your personal face in the car. Everybody's got something going on, and bring your professional face to work, because the person that you are dealing with, it may be their first call to 911, and it may be one of the most difficult things that they're going through personally, right? Or in their life. And for you to come out there with that negative attitude is just not going to sit well with them. That I've got folks that go out there that give it 110%. So With those openings, as I look at applications that are coming through, we do have a hiring bonus that our city manager slash finance director has put aside specifically for hiring. We are attracting, and I have great talent here. I really have really good talent here, Will. And like I said, I would put our department next to any other department, and the cohesiveness, the working relationships, and the knowledge that they have could be a fantastic thing on a regional model.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Chief Ghazalpour. Appreciate your the time today, and look forward to continuing this conversation and also following, of course, this unfortunate shooting that happened over the weekend.
And Will, thank you for the opportunity to clarify some of the things that were out there initially in the initial report and helping bring clarification to it with facts and a statement to you. I truly appreciate your time.
Appreciate it. Thank you.